first off, tell me how this came about. You signing for the UFC. Of course, a lot of people suspicious when they see the record. They see how long you've been doing MMA. Tell me how the UFC got in touch.
So they seeked out for myself. Like they reached out through my management company last year when I fought in Miami. They reached out. They had said they loved me, and they said I'd love to take him, but I need to see a little bit more. Because I got a good knockout, but I didn't really show. They didn't really get to see any of my grappling work or anything like that. And then I was scheduled to fight. about 5 or 6 times since that last fight, and they all fell through. And I knew I just needed one more fight to get me going. Then COVID happened to stop everything, and then I think now I don't know 100%, but they were saying something like, if I won my next fight, they put me on Contender Series in November, like 1,000%. But then, after the way I went out and what I did to your man was such a big record, and he was their superstar over in the Middle East, and he didn't even land a glove on me except for the little bit on the ground. He got 1 or 2 little shots, but I blocked nearly all of them. So, but I think it was the way I finished him. And the way I got out of them bad positions, I was able to show I'm a well-rounder. So I think it came down to that. And then I hadn't even left the cage. I'd left the cage. I was walking back to, they had like these igloo things outside, like these big domes, and I was going back, and I got my phone. Cause, I was like, my phone's gonna be going nuts here. And I got my phone, and man, it was blowing up. But I had like 20 missed calls on my manager, and I was like, what the fuck? And then he rang me and just said it. He rang me again. He was like, they want you, they want to take you, blah blah blah.
Oh my god!
I knew I was going from September.
And of course, it's a massive week for Irish MMA, as you know, with what goes down on. You fight on Thursday, is that correct? And then on Saturday.
Wednesday I fight, and then Connor's up on Saturday. So if I had the option, I would have loved to be on Connor's card, but I think it separates the both of us, and because I've never met Conor before, I've never even spoke to him, so I'm excited to meet him in January. But I got here by myself, and I got this here my way,
Yeah, because I did read a theory online, and I thought it was so hilarious. They said, oh well, obviously this is Conor helped him, and I thought, well, first off, Dean's probably never met Conor. This is what I thought, and I also said the different gyms, SBG Charleston, almost. Nothing to do with SVG.
Owen trains him. Owen's his head striking coach. Blah blah blah. But I've never met Conor. I seen him twice. I seen him once in Belfast 2 years ago, walking past me. Yeah. Then I seen him drive by me one day in the car. I've never met him. I never spoke to him. Never engaged. But
you've read all that stuff online.
Yeah, I read all that stuff. I remember when I won last year. He had texted Owen and said, what beautiful peachy sidekick to the face or something. I can't remember what he said, but so he knows who I am, and Owen, as far as I know, Owen said he was delighted for me. So do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was a strange one, but it's an exciting week for sure. I mean, you're gonna make your debut in the same place where your last fight was, right? Near enough, right?
Last fight was in Dubai. This fight is in Abu Dhabi, so it's just down the road from it. I was originally meant to fight in Abu Dhabi, but then they had shut everything down. Right. They moved us to Dubai the week of the show. Oh, okay. So that was a bit crazy. But people saying, oh, he's 3-1 and stuff like that. He's only had 4 fights. The amount, if you go through the UFC roster, look at the amount of people who have signed to the UFC, even 2-0, 3-0. Even Wonder Boy, Mickey Gall,
this guy you're fighting, Mike Jackson.
Yeah, Mike Jackson. Sage Northcutt was 4-0, 4 fights. There's a lot of people in the heavyweight division right now who are only currently 4-0, 5-0, who have kind of their career started at 2-0 in UFC, So time is different for everyone. Wonder Boy was 4-0, I think. So I don't know what people are talking about saying that. It's everyone's journey is different. What takes somebody 10-0 took me just 4 fights because my style. It's my fighting style they like.
Yeah, and look, it's going to be easier for someone with a style like yours than let's say a Colby Covington who's got all this background, but he doesn't excite the fans. In when he started on the regional scene, it's not a style that the UFC are interested in.
No, you watch my 4 fights. All 4 of my fights were on huge shows. Yeah. Fought 4 different parts of the world, and I went in and fought the hometown boy all the time, and I went out and I just put on a show. I'm exciting. I've got a good karate style, a fan favourite style, a fan friendly style, and I'm aggressive with it as well. And I always look for a finish. I don't just go around try, decision someone. I'm always going out to put someone out, and it shows that. And my finishes are all through 1st round knockouts.
Let's talk about Mike Jackson. 1-on-1, of course. Stylistically, if I were to speak to both of you, I could say it's a great matchup for you. Because he would love to just stay standing. I know that you would as well. Talk to me a bit about what you've seen of him. Obviously, he's not been in the cage that long, but he's boxed a little bit as well.
I don't, to be honest with you, my manager called me at like 3 a.m. and told me, he said, he video timed me and said, look at the UFC are signing you a multi-fight deal, yada yada yada, and the guy is Mike Jackson. I had no clue who he was, and I was like, lovely, yes. And he goes, it's at 170, and I said, lovely. And then he goes, do you even know who Mike Jackson is? And I said, no. And he goes, do you care? And I said, no. And he started laughing, and he was like, you always just say yeah. Like any fight, my manager will tell you, like any fight my manager sends me, I say absolutely straight away. I don't even watch them. I must spend about 5 minutes total looking at somebody I'm fighting, because I don't need to. I go out and fight me, because I know I'm a very difficult fight for anybody, and I go out and fight my fighting style, you know. So with the Mike Jackson situation, I haven't watched anything on him. I think I watched about 2 minutes, probably if even. I just looked at what I looked at. I just think I'm just stylistically it's a good matchup for me. I know he's a bit bigger, but I spent my whole kickboxing career fighting at 80 kilos. My whole career. So I fought guys that were all 6'4", 6'5", kickers, strong punchers, and so I don't really care. Like, you
had signed for the UFC under the thought that you were going to be a featherweight. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm going to be fighting at featherweight. So they signed me, and this fight was offered to me. And you can only fight who's in front of you.
Of course, yeah.
Am I going to say no? Yeah. No, give me a 12-0 guy, please. Like, yeah, they obviously they really like me fighting style. They said they want to build me up. They think they can do a lot with me. That was the fight they offered me, and I said yeah. Like I didn't know who Mike was. I honestly had no idea who he was. Right.
Never. I thought maybe he was the guy who fought Kiefer Crosby.
No, yeah, but I know people. I didn't even know his name was Mike Jackson. I thought it was just this big welterweight who was like, he might be like fucking 10-8 or something, right? Whatever. But I just said yeah, cause I don't care who the opponent is. It's I fight my fight. Like, it doesn't matter who's across the cage from me. But obviously they're not going to give me this mad like Nurmagomedov wrestler, like, because it's not going to be a good fight for the fans, because someone's just going to be trying to grab my leg constantly. Like, this is going to be a fight where Mike's going to come in and just try to take my head off, and I'm going to do the same. And
so you haven't watched the CM Punk fight?
No.
It was a crazy one. I know that Dana White was not a big fan of his. There was talk that he was going to fight maybe Aaron Chalmers in Bellator, but there was
CM Punk was going to fight.
No, that Mike Jackson was.
Oh really?
I think there was initially talk that CM Punk might, after he lost his first fight.
Really?
The UFC said no, we're gonna have him fight again, and then basically Jackson went out there and, like, obviously Punk's like not a fighter, and Jackson was kind of taking the piss out of him a little bit, and he was throwing like stupid, like he was on top of him in full mount, and like looking around and pretending to take a selfie, and like taking the piss out of him a little bit.
I don't like that now. I don't know Mike personally, so I wouldn't speak on him like the man he is around, but I don't like that sort of shit now. Like, he's not going to be able to do that with me, obviously.
No, for sure.
Like, I'm a world class striker, and a lot of people don't really know me, but they'll see when I go out and fight. Like, my 4 fights, I haven't been touched. Like, I don't get touched in that occasion. It's just the way I fight, and I think it's set up for me to get that bonus, and that's what I think, and that's what I'm going for. So.
And it's
if you say if like you said it's true, and Dana doesn't like him, well then Dana's going to give me 50,000 if I knock him out. So.
Well, I do feel that he did irk the UFC a little bit with the last performance. I know that Dana White was not happy with him at all, but yeah, there's been a lot of obviously negativity around the announcement. Of course, people were surprised to see you sign with the UFC, and certainly whenever Mike Jackson's name gets brought up, he's 1-1. He made his MMA debut in the UFC, lost very early to Mickey Gall, then he fought CM Punk. It's not like obviously most 170s.
And things because two things there, right? The one where, like, to be honest, I actually got about an 85% positive,
right?
Positive reaction from when I signed with the UFC. A few bitter people who are fighters who are, he doesn't deserve this, I'm doing this the right way, I'll show you how to do it properly. They're only pissed off because they're not in my position that I got signed. Like, if the UFC came knocking for them, they would have signed. People need to understand, I didn't pick up my phone and text Dana White and ask him to sign me. They approached me. They announced it on the UFC page and all, because they think that I'm going to do really well. And people forget I'm representing my country since I'm 10 years of age, and I've brought home gold medals from every part of the world for Ireland. I've fought on the biggest stages in kickboxing you can possibly do. I've beat the best fighters you can possibly beat in kickboxing. Even Raymond Daniels, I've beat Raymond Daniels before. Obviously if it was in a ring he's much better, but like I bet him one time at the Irish Open. Like I've beaten high level guys, so like
you've been there with MVP, is that right?
I've never fought Michael Page.
Right.
No. Like I fought Raymond Daniels. It was in like a team event fight. Like them fights you can either go, anyone can kind of win them. Do you know what I mean? But still, I'm up there with the likes of those guys, and people don't understand that, and it obviously shows that I'm not signed for the crack. Or for that's what annoys me a bit, and then it annoys me a bit the way people are like, this fight is like Dean versus the guy who beat CM Punk. Like this isn't a joke for me. Like I'm going out to do what like my dream came true. I'm going out to smash this fella. Like, but it almost kind of, I see some of the stuff people are saying, and it's almost like, you know, put a bit of respect on it. Like,
and of course, a bonus at this particular time in your life, that 50 grand would be, you know, unthinkable, because you've just welcomed in a baby boy. Is that right?
Yeah, little son Jace. So like that, like, do you know what I mean? Like a lot of that money can go towards like his like future, like, or towards a house for me and him. That's my goal. Like I always set myself small goals in my career, and my goal was to reach the UFC within 3 years, and I did it. Yep, I did it. So I set small goals. You need small goals. You set, like, you can, instead of setting these massive ones, it's hard to achieve them, and you can fail. So I set small ones, and my next goal is to get home for me and my son. And you know, I'm going to be coming into some big money now, and I never thought. I always thought I'd get here, and I always felt like I'd be the one out of my family to come into money and stuff. I'm sure everyone thinks that. Don't they? Of course, like, I'll be the one to. But I just feel like, you know, I feel like my family deserve it. Like I deserve to have my family name in the UFC. Like, you know, from my mum and all, and my granny, granddad and all that. The Barry name's gonna be great.
I would imagine that it's going to be difficult for you to go off for a week. You know, it'll be the longest period when you go to Dubai without him, right?
Without Jace.
Yeah.
But look, I'm doing it for him, so I want to give my son a great life. He's gonna know his dad made it to the UFC. Yeah. Regardless of the outcome, my son's gonna see what hard work can do for you, and what being a good person, staying true to yourself, and where it can lead you. You don't have to be a dickhead, or you don't have to, you know, talk shit about people or that. And he's gonna see a good way of doing it. And that's all I care about. I want to make him happy. Like.
And I understand that for new parents, maybe the quarantine is not great for most fighters, but for you, you'll get 24 hours where all you can do is sleep.
24 hours. Yeah, that's true as well. See, but see, he lives with his mum, so I don't be with him for the nights, but I will soon. You know.
Yeah. And tell me a bit about you know, this. So going to Fight Island, of course, this is an interesting thing the UFC are doing. Are you looking forward to being involved in such a big week of fights, and of course as well that there's talk maybe there might be fans back. I don't know what the situation is. I'd imagine they're playing that by ear with how the world is going, but it's a gigantic week to be involved in.
Yeah, so I was supposed to make my debut on the 28th of November actually against Mike in Las Vegas, and then it got postponed. And that was in September when I knew about that, and then I didn't see any UFC contract. I didn't see nothing. I was stressed out. I thought I wasn't getting any more. I told a few people I was gone, and I was starting to look a bit like a fucking idiot, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then my son wasn't supposed to be born till the 3rd of December, and then on the 24th of November the UFC contract came, and my son came nearly 3 weeks early on the same day.
Oh,
so
wow, that's incredible.
It was like destiny. And then I feel like putting me on International Fight Week, same week as Conor, like Fight Week, International Fight Week, the best week you can fight. Like the traction that's going to be on is huge. Get to make my debut on Fight Island. Like I'm mad for all the old school martial arts movies. So I feel like I'm flying into the Kumite almost, you know, like that was scrap. But
actually Mike said that in his announcement. He said I'm going into the Kumite to fight.
Going into the Kumite, yeah. Well, can't go into the Kumite with just a bit of boxing, so it'll be exciting to see. I think I'll beat him everywhere, to be honest with you, even wrestling, grappling, all of it. So I'm just going to be too quick for him.
We'll see him Punk took him down, so I don't think that's problems.
And do you know what though? I think when people say that with CM Punk, but CM Punk was a WWE wrestler. But I know it's not like, you know, it's like acting, but you still have to be able to wrestle. And he's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, so like
look, I would recommend you watch the fight before you give CM Punk too many compliments. It was rough. It was
oh really? Okay. I just not one of them. I never shy on anyone until I like, you know the full story. I was just like keeping an open mind here. But I'm excited. I'm excited to fight. I'm just excited that I can give the Irish like our country, something to stay up for, something to get excited about. Like I used to stay up and watch with my friends and watch Conor, and I'd be like, lads, one day that'll be me. I was like, I promise. And my mates all believed in me. Like they'd be like, I know, Dino, I know. And then sometimes they'd be like, oh yeah, of course you will. Like, but it's nice to say I finally got here. Like sometimes even when I'm sitting with my brother, like the two of us kind of sit back and go like, can't believe we got here. Like, they actually got here. Who's
in your corner for this fight?
Owen and my brother Shane. Shane's been in my corner for all my fights, and Shane, he did kickboxing as well. Like,
very good.
Yeah, he helps me with all my legal stuff. Helps me with, like, I don't have to worry, stress about, like, when you sign to the UFC, you are flooded with files. Boom, boom, boom. You have to do this. All your medicals, all your USADA, anti-doping, all this, like all your bloods, eyes, all the COVID stuff and everything, and just a lot of legal stuff. And Shane just baits through it all for me. And
you have to update that app every 2 seconds, don't you?
Yeah, we filled out the app and fucking and we put I said I done it by accident. I said I was here from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and USADA showed up there last Saturday when I was in IKEA doing a bit of shopping, and they rang me and they were like, you have 10 minutes to get here, and I'm like, they're like, make sure you drink water, and I'm flying down the M50 like scudding water. I was like, oh fuck, because imagine saying you had a missed test and I only joined and I'm fighting soon. So it's good though, man. Like, it's good. I'm just happy that like I got good reaction from it. The only people that really say shit are fighters.
Right. The one fight I've been to of yours, the one in Dublin against Pretty Boy, that was obviously, you said it to him on Twitter there when he congratulated you on the contract. That was a fight that really made you the fighter you are now. Yeah,
I look at when I was over in Canada, George St. Pierre said to me, he's like, don't worry if you lose, because I had never done MMA. I just jumped in. I'd never done wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I never did full contact, never did boxing around. I just did some kickboxing, karate style. And I was going pro straight away within a few weeks. I didn't give a shit. Like, I'm just jumping in. I need it. And he was like, look, if you lose, don't worry. Get the loss out of the way at the start of your career, and that's where you learn. He said it's the losses that you learn at. It's better to have a loss now than when you're 6-0. Because in this game, when you go 6-0 and you lose one, it takes you 10 steps back from the UFC.
That's true.
As much people say it doesn't, it does.
Yeah. And
I was going over to fight in September against Abdullah, and I was 2-1, and I knew if I lost that fight, I'm 2-2.
Yeah.
My dream of UFC is gone on one fight. It would take me at least, and it's so weird, I would have to go from being 2-2 to 8-2 or 7-2 before the UFC would even look at me again. So I'd have to go fighting, taking these risky fights against killers for shit money all around the world, like killing myself, no income, no nothing. But that one fight changed my life, and I'm just so blessed for it. But the fight with Pretty Boy, I had no jiu-jitsu. I didn't even know any jiu-jitsu. Because I had fought September. I was saying this before. So when I fought September, my pro debut, I flew back to Ireland, and from September till late February 28th, I think it was, I didn't even go to an MMA gym because I had no gym.
Right, yeah.
I was just going to my fitness gym and running on the treadmill, hitting the bag. I was going to my kickboxing class, and then I met Owen. I'd scheduled a fight before I met Owen, and I met Owen, and I was supposed to fight someone else, like Patrick Blight from the north, I think it was.
Okay. On Bama though.
Yeah, on Bama in May, and I met Owen in February, and then he was like, right, look, I'll help you, blah blah blah, and then. Remember, I got like a bad concussion in training when I just met him. Some guy kicked me in the face, like I slipped like on the sweat, and he kicked me face. I had a bad concussion, so I couldn't do any sparring.
Jeez.
So I did zero sparring. The time I was about to do sparring again, I split my whole bleeding chin open. So I did no grappling, I did no sparring for that fight. I literally just came up on a Tuesday and a Thursday here, did a little bit of own striking classes. That's great. I went home, got me runs. I used to just like doing that. I was in a routine, and then that fight when I went out against Pretty Boy, like I stuffed all his takedowns, like, but except for the last one, like, and when you could see it, like I was just green. I had no idea what to do. Like when he took me down, like I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, and he got his hooks in on me, you know. But now after that fight, I said, right, you need to do this right. And then I came and started doing jiu-jitsu constantly, and like I hold my own against like the blues, purple belts in the gym, no bother and all, and flying now.
And do you remember, did you ever see Rocky 4? You looked like Ivan Drago at the start of when he fights Apollo Creed, when Pretty Boy was making that mad entrance with the dancers.
It's fucking weird, man. I was standing there, like, just beside him, and he's just he's where you are, and he's getting all ready to go out, and I was just standing there, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Felt like I was in like a circus show, but then you get kind of. But one thing, like, I can see how people might get a bit caught up in his gimmick, but he's actually a very strong little fighter. Like, he's on a 5-fight win streak, sure. Yeah. Since me.
Well, he's a good example of what you were saying about, like, he lost a few, like, tough fights, and, like, the UFC have said to him, like, he's spoken to them, and they've been like, we can't sign someone who's 7-5.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But he hasn't lost since he fought you.
No, and he's on it, and I'm so happy for him. Like, I'm delighted for him. He's only turned his life around from a dark place, and that's something like, even if it's on the back of me losing, but I'm happy for him. But look, that's destiny. Look where I am now. I reckon if I had beaten him, I would have went out and done the exact same thing I've been doing, and I would have got smashed in my next fight. That's just the way it is. And even in that fight, even though I lost that fight, I still made a brilliant account for myself. Yeah. Didn't get touched off him. I smashed him up.
You won the first round, right?
Oh, he didn't even land a glove on me. Yeah. I destroyed him. I destroyed the fella. And, like, I wasn't even close, like. Mm-hmm. And then the second round, he just took me down, and I didn't know what I was doing. And so, yeah, my 2 feet were bleeding purple after that fight from kicking him so much.
Obviously, we don't know what the world's going to be like next year, but you've got a 4-fight contract. Is one of those fights, are you kind of hoping it's going to be a rescheduled Dublin show? Because I know they cancelled one.
That's my goal. My goal is to bring the UFC to Dublin, bro. Like, because there's so many exciting fighters in the featherweight division. Like, lovely, beautiful.
Because Conor can't. He's too big.
I was about to say that. I think Conor is too big for the Tree Arena. Yeah. Like, if you have Conor now, if you're looking to book Conor, you need to get the Aviva Stadium or Crow Park. Yeah. Like, I don't think the UFC could even fill the Tree Arena to cover his fight force in a sense.
No, of course.
But they can send me in for what I'm getting and co-headline, because I'd like to co-headline it, because I'd rather the Irish get, like, you know, have, like, oh, there's Dean as the co-main, and look at the main event, like, bring in some big boys, some big names, and I can chill and watch it, and, like, with my friends, and just give them all something exciting. But I'd love to be part of someone that brought the UFC back to Ireland and got some of the Irish a chance.
Were you at either of those shows, Paddy Hoolan's or Conor's against Brando?
No one. To be honest with you, I never really watched MMA. Like, I never really had any interest in it. I got bored of kickboxing, and I've seen Conor and what he did for Irish MMA to show that, like, when I seen him, I was like, there is hope for us to make money. Because I used to think, no Irish makes it in boxing or MMA. Yeah. Like, look at the Irish football team and all. They're good, but we never get past like the likes of Finland or Iceland or something like that. But I just seen what he did, and I just thought, like, maybe I can do this. And with my ability to win all the time in kickboxing, like, I'd always be that man you'd send out to win, or you'd know I just get it done. I always manage to get it done on the biggest shows, because I don't bottle under pressure. I actually thrive under pressure. So I knew if I went into MMA, I'd do the same thing, and I did. Do you know what I mean?
So you're feeling good going into this. Obviously, you're not going to have much of a weight cut. Are you going to have to maybe even eat up a little bit to get
I'm on weight now.
Yeah,
I'm on weight now. Like, I could weigh in now.
You look big for a featherweight.
Yeah, well, I usually walk around about 80 kilos. Right. So this fight right now, I'm waking up some mornings about 78 kilo and 78 and a half, and the fight's at 77. So
is there a chance, kind of like Hamzat, where, like, all 3 of your first 3 fights will be at different weight classes? Is there a possibility?
Do you know what? Probably. Like, it's because my plan is to go to featherweight, because I think me and Owen and my manager think I'm going to have better success at featherweight. Even the guys in featherweight, like, are big. They're still big. Yeah. Look at the size of Max Holloway, the height of him.
Max Holloway,
Brian Ortiga's big.
Billy Zabit's pretty big.
Yeah. All the top boys are big. I know Volkanovski is tiny, but he's an animal. Yeah. So, but then when you see the likes, like, I seen Khabib in Abu Dhabi just for a brief second, and he just looked huge. Like, and I was like, he's a lightweight. Like, and a lot of the lightweights are really, really big. The boys that are cutting down from, like, 85 kilo and stuff. And I do weight cuts. I make 155. Sometimes I struggle a bit making it, but because I don't do my weight cuts right, like, I have nutritionists help me and all, but I'm like, yeah, and I'll let you go out and get, like, KFC or, like, I'm just shit at it. So, like,
you'll make 145 if you have, like, Tristan Kennedy involved, and, you know.
Yeah, Tristan helps me. So I got me body all my body done properly in like my measurements done in the ISI, like, and
Right.
I shouldn't actually be walking around at about 73 kilos.
Okay.
But because I have I had like 15% body fat, 16% I think it was, which is high
Yeah.
for a fighter. So
Right,
I can get my body weight down to 73, and then like start my camp, etc. Getting into the camp, and then I can cut that. I can cut 4 or 5 kilo out, and then put it back on. Like, I can do it, but I just have to be disciplined. Now that I'm in the UFC, I have no choice but to take it serious now. I want to make money.
What's the story with this GSP thing? How long were you training with him?
3 months, I think it was. Well, I was training with him from the day I got to Canada. He came over to me when I was in the cage and said we would do some stuff together, because he came from like Shotokan Karate. Shotokan Karate, I think it's called. And he loves point fighting. He does loads of it, and then he just became like a big brother, and he just brought me everywhere with him. Brought me to every training session. Brought me to his gym. We do everything. I teach him points fighting. He teaches me jiu-jitsu.
I just saw a couple of weeks ago James Gallagher went over to I think it was James Krause, he was training with him, and I feel like the lads here at either of the SPGs here in Dublin are kind of open to, if you wanted to go back and maybe do a few months of TriStar or something, or wanted to work a bit again, you could head over there and build your arsenal that way as well.
Yeah, like I would go. I seen James was over with, you know, James Krause, but he's meant to be just phenomenal at jiu-jitsu. And if you watch his fights, he's very good at mixing the both together, James Krause. So I think that's good.
So was James Gallagher.
That was James. So they're actually very similar in ways, aren't they?
Yeah.
Where you actually watch them fighting. So I think that's like, he went over there because stylistically that's a great place for him to progress, or to take up. Even if he brings home one skill set from there, then he's laughing, you know. So,
but it's possible you could do that, like go.
Absolutely. Like, maybe one day I will. Like, maybe George might be in Abu Dhabi for Fight Island. I don't know. I'd love to meet him again. And like, we kind of fell out of touch because, like, who am I? Do you know what I mean? Like, I was just someone just starting MMA. He helped me when I was there. I'm not going to be that guy bombarding him when I'm at home in Ireland. Like, to imagine, like, he's already probably so busy. But I'm sure we'll probably touch base again. Like, he wished me luck in my last fight, because I was over there with some TriStar, one of the TriStar guys who was fighting, and he's one of my good friends. So we all stayed together, and George like sent me a voice note wishing me luck and all, and it was great. So I would go over there. I'd love to go over and do like a little bit of training with Brett Jones.
Yeah.
In Wales, I'd love to learn, because I just think he's a really good wrestler. Like, and like, he's really good at putting that all together. I'd love to go over and learn a bit off him, and I talked to him on Instagram a fair bit, but I've never talked about training with him, but that's something I'd actually like to do.
It's late. It's 2 a.m. in Ireland when you fight, give or take, right? It's like, it's gonna be late.
I don't know. Is it because I thought they're doing? I don't know. Actually, I know they're 2 hours ahead over there, aren't they?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh fuck, because of the Americans.
Yeah. So obviously it's gonna be tough for the Irish fans to stay up. But what's your sales pitch? What are you going to do to Mike Jackson that's going to attract the Irish fans to stay up till 2 a.m. watching you?
I'm going to take him down and submit him. Just going to shoot a double leg straight away, and I'm just going to wet blanket, sit on top of him and drag it out. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh man, I'm very excited. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely no problem at all. No problem. I'm only messing. I'm going to obviously knock him out, but I'm just joking. I'm smashing head in him.